Good afternoon, Kata and Peter. My name is Jason Santos. Martin has recently emailed you about me, and he suggested that I show you my game DinoRun that I created actually for my 3-4 year old at the time, and it actually grew into more of a family strategic game. And so what I'm showing you right now is actually the base game that is just designed. It was originally designed for sort of 4 to 6 year olds. And then after I show you that game, I'll give you a brief explanation of the modules that can be added to it and interchanged with it that doesn't change the base game. So once a child learns how to play the base game, you could actually, as they get older, begin to add other modules to it that allow expansions, if you will, but age-appropriate expansions to the point that once all 4 modules are included, you have the full incarnation of the game. But what I'm going to show you now is just the basic game and the mechanic that sort of runs it. So this is the board, and to set up the board, I'll show you a close-up of the dinosaurs before we do these little cute dinosaurs. I found them at a little game educational shop, and they had these cute little dinosaurs, and they reminded me of the erasers that I had when I was a kid, this little T-Rex. And they have a really very nice a tactile feel. They feel good in your hands. For some reason, you sort of want to fiddle with them in your hands. But they're very dense and high quality. So this is sort of what inspired the game as a whole, and I wanted to design a game using those components because I was just so impressed with the dinosaurs themselves. So this is DinoRun. The object is to get your dino color down the board and into the safe area and across what will eventually be an appearing chasm that will grow as these tiles are taken and the dinosaurs go across. Like as the dinosaurs go across, they basically fall down and you get the tile and it's worth points. But you get 12 dinosaurs across, and those are the ones that basically earn points, and you also earn points from tiles. So the goal is before this wall of ice moves its way down, freezing everything, you want to get as many of your colored dinosaurs, or as many dinosaurs as well, across the board. So to set up, you want to put up the wall of ice, you want to put the tiles on this side, you want to set up the dinosaurs. The spaces where they start are indicated a little lighter. And they're indicated by type, and there's a rationale for why they're organized in that way, and something to talk about later. You have a draw pile. You have a die that has a picture of an ice mountain, and also 1, 2s, and 3s. You also have these color cards or identification cards, and this is what gives you what color you are at the very beginning of the game. So this is what you would hand a player to say, here, you're yellow or you're blue. And then you give everyone a hand of 5 cards. So on your turn, once you have it all set up, everyone has 5 cards, and I have it kind of set up here for sort of theoretically a 3-player game. The first player, the one who suggested to play the game, gets to roll. And whatever number they roll, if it's a 1, 2, or 3, that's how many cards from their hands they get to play, or from their hand they get to play. And then if it's a ice, that means that the wall of ice moves forward 1 row. Now, if the wall of ice moves forward 1 row and there are dinosaurs in this row, they are frozen and come off the board, and then they're put to the side, so they're no longer available to move across. So if it's your color, obviously that's going to affect your ability to earn points. But if it's a number, then you play that number of card, and to play a card, you really can't choose it. They're all number cards, and they range from 1 to 6, and there is a wild. There's a gray wild or some indication of wild. And what you do, let's say I rolled a 2, and I could play two colors. Well, I could choose to move any yellow dinosaur 6. I could choose to move any green dinosaur 4. I could choose to move any red dinosaur 3, or I could choose to move any dinosaur with the wild to move them 2. And at that point, I am not just moving my dinosaurs, but I'm moving everyone. So in the children's game, it actually becomes somewhat of a cooperative game. You want to move every dinosaur down. You want to move save as many dinosaurs as you can, but you really want to save your color of dinosaur. So let's say you play the green here. And you move 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you play a red one, and you move it 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you decide to play the 6 over here, and you move this Brontosaurus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now you've taken your turn and you move these dinosaurs forward, and then at the end of the turn you draw back up to 5 cards. And the idea behind that is that it's a very simple mechanic. On your turn, you roll the die. It tells you how many cards you can play, or if the ice is moving forward. And if the ice moves forward, you still get to play 1 card. You play your cards by moving colors, one of the colors, or using a wild, and then you draw back up to 5. So it's a very simple in terms of turn order, or what you have to do on your turn, your actions you can take. The next person does, and over time, the same thing. They roll the die, see what they get. They would get to play 3 cards. They move some dinosaurs forward. Next person, next person, next person. Now, let's say another dinosaur gets up here, and you move a blue dinosaur, and it goes across the chasm and lands over here. And then you get this token. And then this one moves over here, and you get this token. And on the back of these, there are points. And eventually, as 12 dinosaurs cross this, it will limit where you can go to cross. And then each time you get these little points that have points 1 and 2 points on them. And then these are worth your points at the end. So, but all the while, this wall of ice is moving down. And occasionally, when you're drawing, you occasionally get an ice wall of ice. And of course, when I want one, it's never there. An ice age, and it makes the wall of ice move on its own. So if this comes out of the draw pile when you're drawing back your cards, it becomes an event card that then you turn out and the wall of ice moves down. So between the rolls and the wall of ice cards, the wall of ice continues to sort of slowly plod down the path, all the while you're trying to move your dinosaurs forward. And then at the end of the game, when all the dinosaurs are either over or frozen, you add up how many dinosaurs you have in this final row over here. You add up all your dinosaurs in this row, and each of the dinosaurs is worth 2 points, and each of these tiles here are worth 1 to 2 points as well. So even if your dinosaurs got frozen back here, you still have a chance to earn points by moving a dinosaur that is not yours or your opponent's over and getting the tile points for that. So even if your dinosaurs get frozen, it still allows a person to say, well, I can still move dinosaurs. In fact, you can just move a whole bunch of dinosaurs over on your turn if you have the capacity to do that and earn a lot of points down these tiles rather than getting your dinosaurs over. So the other thing that is when, let's say all the blue dinosaurs were frozen and these dinosaurs were down the path, and there were no more blue dinosaurs left on the board to move, but you had a blue dinosaur card. Well, any color that is no longer present on the board also becomes a wild, which encourages the movement to continue down the path. All in all, the game takes around 20 minutes probably to play with setup and cleanup, probably around 30. They're fun the dinosaurs are fun to play with. It's a great way to get kids engaged, not only in turn action, but making decisions around movement, of prioritizing their color maybe over someone else's color. You always can have to move the dinosaurs forward because the back ones are back here and you don't want them to get captured or frozen. You kind of push them forward, but then you get sort of this traffic jam in the center where you have all these dinosaurs and here comes this wall. So it creates tension sort of as the game is going. Likewise, you only can get 12 dinosaurs total out of the 24 that are available. So only half in any game are actually going to make it across. And if you get 12 across before and the wall of ice is still down here, the game would end then as well. So the ending is triggered by getting 12 dinosaurs down, having no more dinosaurs on the board, or having the ice make it all the way down. And then again, the points you just add up at the end, and the one with the most points wins. Now, it can be played in a more cooperative way, in the sense of, if I originally started playing with my son, I was helping him move his dinosaurs and he was helping me move mine. And it was a way to invite cooperation. We're just trying at this point to get as many dinosaurs as we can, so we all win if we can get all of our dinosaurs down. But we get points along the way. So there are 4 modules that you can add to the game that kind of change the way that the game is played. And again, these modules could be added one at a time over a longer period of time. They could be added in combination. You can add the first one and the third one, or the second one and the fourth one. The game plays the same regardless. The turn action is the same. You roll, you use that many number of cards, you draw back up to 5, and you move your dinosaurs. The objective is the same. You want to get your dinosaurs down here and cross the chasm and avoid the wall of ice. So the in the end really is the same. The end triggers are exactly the same. Either a 12 are down there, no dinosaurs on the board, or the whole thing is frozen. So regardless of how you play, you can add these modules, and it really turns into a much fuller game in that regard. The first is point values. These right now, when in the kids game, the point values are all the same when you get down here. But in the module, you have 6 and 5, and these are worth 4 and 3, and 2 and 1. So there becomes a spread of points. So then as you grow with it, you learn to value. Well, you got to get these high point ones forward faster. So it begins to sort of geared, which again creates a bit of that traffic jam. Because they can't go through the water, they have to go around. So it kind of pushes them this way. And so that's one. So you add the point values. And then in that regard, you also add the tiles then have a few higher points in them, a 3 and a 4 rather than just a 1 and a 2. But you also introduce a thaw tile. And what a thaw tile does is allows you, if you get it, to thaw a dinosaur that has been frozen and put it right in front of the wall to go. And so it could be frozen again, but it gives you a chance to thaw one of those dinosaurs maybe that came in there, that it broke out and is now moving forward as well. So that's module 1. The second module is actually the one that I think is really sort of the game changer in terms of how fun it is, and that is that you make the colors hidden. And so in the color indication cards of who you are, you now pass those out in a hidden way, so you don't know if I'm playing a 2 or 3 player game or even a 4 player game, you don't know who is who. There could be ones that are no one's color, but at that point you're still moving everyone's dinosaurs forward, so you're kind of saying, well, I want to specifically move mine forward. I don't want to move everyone's too far forward. So it sort of creates this dynamic of not knowing who's who, and it's kind of funny because you can then slow someone down or speed someone up without actually being a direct attack against them. So that's the second module. The third module are specialty cards, or action cards, and those get inserted in the draw pile, and you can play those regularly as cards. And what that does is it gives you just some action, so fossil dig. You can dig into the draw pile and select something out of it. Roll again. A dump and draw. You can dump the hand you don't like. You have none of your own color. You want to dump it and draw. You can play that. A mud slide, where you can slide multiple tiles down, where you can swap 2 colors of dinosaurs or the same type of dinosaurs. Draw 3 extra cards, 4 extra cards. So all of these sort of are intermingled into the draw pile, and they change the game in the sense of they give you some extra ways to manipulate the board. And really, the fourth way then is dinosaur abilities, and that is that every dinosaur has a ability. For example, I'll go through them. The Ankylosaurus can hit a dinosaur and knock it on its side. The Stegosaurus can swap. The Pterodactyl can fly and gets 1 extra movement point. The Brontosaurus gets 1 minus movement point, which is a little bigger and slower and has to go back, but it can go through water. The T-Rex can attack and eat any of the other dinosaurs except for the Brontosaurus because they're immune to the other effects. And the Triceratops that bump. So what you get in that fourth module is you get this fuller interaction between the characters, and when you combine that with, say, the hidden dinosaurs, it creates a great effect because you don't know who's who, and you begin to eat dinosaurs and to bump them back and to combat them that way. So, but in every single one of these modules, the whole thing is geared toward the basically building the game. The game, again, the basic is just exactly the same thing, whether you're playing with all 4 modules on top of that child's game or children's game, or whether you're just taking one because your child can decide to do the hidden colors and try to learn that piece, or to have the values piece, or to just make it more fun with the goofy cards, or to really make it more strategic when each of the dinosaur types have their abilities. So in essence, that's DinoRun. Admittedly, I have toyed with it over the last 3 years. I've toyed with using lava instead of ice. Ice is very whimsical. It's not quite as realistic. You wouldn't have ice sort of creeping along in the same way, but it's kind of funny in that regard. Lava is something that I've toyed around with. I have another game called Hot Lava, so there was a crossover point, and it sort of seeped its way into this, pun intended. Anyway, that's DinoRun, and I would love to have a chance to talk to you all more about this if it looks like something that's interesting. There's a lot of flexing in the game, and the children's game is set in itself, but even in the game with the modules, there's a lot of flexing in what age you market it to. So if you want to market it at a 6 to 7 year old or something like that, you can add in the hidden colors or add in the points as a basic game at the basic game, and then still have the others. But I hope to hear from you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Hey, one more thing. In case you were interested or it was something that sounded interesting to you, this is the, just sort of put these two over here. This is the lava version of it where the lava creeps down. And the idea behind that is when a lava, this is for an advanced, but as the lava comes down, you have your choice of all these little different shaped size pieces that you can put, and it fills in quite nicely to have the lava, if these were stable, lava creep down the board in a way that it slowly just moves its way down. And then by the time the board is done, you have a completely covered sort of lava board. So the game will play the same. It's just a different theme. If lava seems more exciting than ice, that's fine too. So just want to throw that out there.